Prof Max's student, and she's going to be speaking about sexual reproductive health in higher education institutions in Zimbabwe. So over to you, and you have, this is your second seminar, so you have 30 minutes to present, and 10 minutes we will do questions.
Okay, thank you, Prof. My topic is towards a sexual reproductive health framework for supporting students with visual impairment in higher education institutions in Zimbabwe. The introduction and the background: sexual reproductive health is a key aspect in human life, but it is receiving minimal attention in public and educational discourse, especially for students with visual impairment in higher education institutions. These students are being
Sorry, I just
stigmatized.
need to interrupt you. Are you moving to the next slide?
Sorry, I'm still on slide 1.
Okay, all right.
Yes, so I was saying these students are being stigmatized by their parents, by peers, health care service providers, and also at times the educators. This study is quite key because there is a dearth, literature cites that there is a dearth of research on barriers to comprehensive sexuality education for students with visual impairment. Literature also cites that there is need for comprehensive sexuality education due to the increased vulnerability that students with a visual impairment go through, and at times they go through sexual abuse. So comprehensive sexuality education assists them to safeguard and to fight for their rights. The primary research question: what model can be used to offer efficacious sexual reproductive health services to students with visual impairment in higher education institutions in Zimbabwe? The aim to develop sexual reproductive health conceptual framework for supporting students with visual impairment at higher education institutions in Zimbabwe. The objectives of the study is: 1, to assess the nature of sexuality education currently offered in Zimbabwe's higher education institutions. Objective number 2, to determine the challenges students with visual impairment experience in accessing sexual reproductive health services in higher education institutions in Zimbabwe. Number 3, yes.
Sorry, your slide is not moving.
Yes, I'm still on slide 1.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Okay. Objective number 3 is to assess strategies that higher education institutions in Zimbabwe can use to provide efficacious sexual reproductive health services to visually impaired students. And the 4th objective is to develop a conceptual sexual reproductive health framework for students with visual impairment in higher education institutions in Zimbabwe. The problem statement: the majority of health facilities still do not provide the disabled community with accessible sexual reproductive health information and services. To add on, there is a lack of comprehensive sexuality education inclusive curriculum in the higher education institutions, especially in Zimbabwe. Literature cites that there is a gap in the body of knowledge or existing literature in Africa, particularly in Zimbabwe, with regards to sexual reproductive health issues about visually impaired students. Students with visual impairment experience a number of challenges in accessing sexual reproductive health services. In this study, the researcher developed a an Afrocentric sexual reproductive health conceptual framework, but the two theoretical frameworks are going to guide this study. These are, one, the doxa orthodoxy heterodoxy framework by Pierre Bourdieu, who cites that there are three components, which are, one, the doxa, which cites that the persons with visual impairment are asexual and they have a diminished sexual drive. And this is evidenced by the facilities and information which is inaccessible in the institutions. To add on, literature cites that parents and at times even the healthy care service providers do not support these visually impaired students because of their disability, thinking that they should not be interested in sexual issues. The orthodoxy cites that persons with visual impairment should not be preoccupied with issues to do with sex, but literature cites that these students, they are just sexual beings, just like the other human beings. On the other hand, heterodoxy contradicts the doxa and the orthodoxy by citing that the persons with visual impairment are sexual and they also need comprehensive sexuality education. That's theory number one. The second theory, which is the Afrocentric theory of social ontogenesis by Bamet Zamanan, indicates that puts a lot of emphasis.
Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry, candidate. Are you moving on to the next slide yet?
I'm still on slide one. On this slide, I'm still talking, but I'm still on this slide.
So you are showing the title slide at the moment.
Can you come again?
You are showing your title slide.
I'm showing the title slide.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Let me rectify that. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Go to the slide that you're speaking to now.
Is it still showing the title slide?
Ah, there we go. We've moved on to theoretical framework.
Are we still on theoretical frameworks?
You're now showing slide 3.
Okay, it's noted. Okay. Is it showing the theoretical framework?
Yeah, we are seeing theoretical framework.
Yes. Okay. That is where I was when I was talking about the Afrocentric theory of social ontogenesis, which is quite key because the researcher is studying students with visual impairment who are Africans, and it is critical. I thought that it was critical that I may use this theory, which put an emphasis on African culture, values, and beliefs, especially the Ubuntu, which side that I am because you are. And also it emphasizes on interconnectedness, but however, on the ground, at times the students with visual impairment they don't feel included, especially when it comes to sexual reproductive health issues in the institutions. There are other key components that are indicated, which are the concept of social genesis, the dialogical, collectivistic, and also the cultural values, beliefs, and practices where there is an emphasis on chastity, meaning that the young people should preserve themselves and not indulge in sexual activities before marriage. To move on, the researcher used in the research methodology, the qualitative research methodology was used. And the interpretive research paradigm was used, which was flexible, enabled the researcher to understand the meanings of participants' experiences, viewpoints in their own words, and also the meanings that shape their sexual reproductive healthy behaviors. In the ontology, the reality of sexual reproductive healthy issues was the truth, or the reality was derived or was generated or collected from the students with visual impairment. When it comes to the epistemology, the researcher understood the students' knowledge and attitude with regards to sexual reproductive health issues. And then the axiology, the researcher conducted the research being guided by the ethical considerations, which included informed consent, protection from harm of the participants, use of confidentiality and privacy. And those are some of the ethics that the researcher followed. In the methods and or techniques that the researcher used, when it came to sampling, the purposive sampling was used for staff members, and in each institution where we were having 2 cases were done, and in each institution 5 members of staff who were considered to be having rich information about the issues that the researcher was interested were participated in the study. When it came to the students with visual impairment, the snowballing sampling was used, where one student who was blind was identified, and then this student referred the researcher to the other students who were also visually impaired or blind. The data collection methods that the researcher used, the semi-structured interview was used, the focus group discussions, document analysis was also used in the data collection. Data analysis methods that were used, the inductive thematic analysis was used in analyzing interviews and also focus group discussion. When it came to the document analysis, the thematic content analysis was used. And during the study, the researcher had to examine on assumptions, beliefs, and judgment systems that could influence the research process, that are personal, interpersonal, methodological, and also contextual reflexivity. The ethical considerations that I indicated were quite key during the study because the researcher was doing a study with students with visual impairment, and they are a bit sensitive, and also the topic that the researcher was doing is a bit sensitive, and she had to ensure that ethical considerations were followed, thus informed consent, voluntary participation, confidentiality, and privacy protection from harm. Also, trustworthiness was followed, that is credibility, and how that was done is indicated, transferability, dependability, confirmability, and authenticity. To move on, the presentation of the findings. Excerpts or direct quotations from respondents were given to illustrate key findings which provided authenticity to the presentation. The findings were presented through the use of themes that were derived from the data which was generated. And this emerged from the data which was generated, and the themes that the researcher came up with 4 themes which are indicated on the slide. The participant profiles were compiled and put on appendix section, and triangulation was done using different sources, which included interviews, focus group discussions, and document analysis. The findings of the study. Theme number 1, which cites the perceptions of sexuality education on the offer of higher education institutions. Of interest, or something which is key that the researcher needs to cite, is that the social media is misleading or misguiding young people when it comes to sexual reproductive health, and comprehensive sexuality education is assisting to address false information that young people read and see in the social media. To add on, one of the weaknesses that were noted when it comes to sexual education was that the teaching strategies are not inclusive. Hence, the lecturers, they need to have strategies which include the students with disability. To add on, when it comes to the teaching strategies in sexual and reproductive health, one of the key issues that were cited by respondents was the issue of having to embrace the auntie and uncle concept, and also the use of elders, which has been eroded by the Western perspective, which the young people of the society is now having a situation where we are having a nuclear family, and people are minding their own business or families without involving the other family members who can assist their children to have good morals and behave well. Theme number 3, challenges that the students with visual impairment experience as they are accessing sexual reproductive health services. Some of the issues that were noted are discrimination, negative attitudes, inaccessibility to services, misconceptions, stereotypes, privacy and confidentiality, and also a difficulty in being approached. Theme number 4 noted that there is need for improvement or enhancing sexual reproductive health service provision in the institution, and this can be done by embracing inclusivity in sexual reproductive health service provision, and also enhancing mobility when it comes to when students with visual impairment want to move from point A to the clinic or to the hospital. And also members in the institutions, they need to be conscientized or to be taught about disability awareness so that they know how to accommodate them. Hence, there is need to have training workshops for health service providers and also educators so that they can be inclusive. The students with visual impairment cited that it is key that perhaps to increase their chances to get partners, they need a dating site where they could find students who have got disabilities for institutions of higher learning. To add on, it is also key that monitoring and evaluation of policies be done so that the progress is checked. In this research, the researcher developed an Afrocentric sexual reproductive health conceptual framework, which cites that the students with visual impairment at the center of the study, and these students with impairment are found in higher education institutions where an emphasis is they need to be taught comprehensive sexuality education. And when they are being taught comprehensive sexuality education, it is critical that elders work with educators to teach comprehensive sexuality education. To add on, if possible, innovation hubs can be created so that young people can visit these at any time. Of critical importance is also Ubuntu, which needs to be embraced as this is happening. A situation where is emphasis in respect of self, respect of elders, embracing chastity and modesty, and also taking advice from the elderly people. The institutions also need to craft or draft inclusive sexual reproductive health that accommodate the students with disabilities. And to add on, these policies need to be monitored, and also they need to monitoring and evaluation needs to be done so that progress is checked. The diagram shows what can be done so that the students with visual impairment can feel accommodated. Having said that, the study contributes the following. When it comes to the research recommendations, it is critical to offer students with visual impairment as accessible sexual reproductive health information. And also during the creation of this sexual reproductive health accessible information, the students with visual impairment can be involved. There is also a need to train healthy professionals and educators so that they can be in a position to accommodate or handle students with disabilities, in particular those with visual impairment. And also in this study, it is being emphasized that the community needs to include, to have elders being involved in comprehensive sexuality education so that the young people can tap from their experiences and wisdom so that they reduce their chances of mistakes and setbacks so that they can make wise decisions. When it comes to the policy recommendations, institutional policies need to address the needs for students with visual impairment concerning issues to do with sexual reproductive health. And also, institutions should have inclusive communication frameworks, a situation where members of staff who are educators or healthy service providers understand how to communicate effectively with students with disabilities. Practical recommendations. Inclusive Afrocentric sexual reproductive health curriculum is being commended. And comprehensive Afrocentric sexual reproductive health materials need to be developed. Afrocentric approaches need to be used when training counselors. And the researcher proposes that these topics can be, for further research, those topics can be explored. Thank you, colleagues, professors, doctors. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. That was a great presentation, and I hope you can hear me. I have a bit of feedback.
Yes, yes, I can hear you, Prof. Thank you.
Good, good. So Prof Sefotho is not here. Yes. So I'm going to open to the floor. I'm not sure who is on your doctoral committee. If you know who the people are, they can give some comments. Otherwise, anyone who is in the department can give us some feedback. I'm looking at the chat. I don't see anybody's hands up. So maybe I can start the discussion with you. As a person coming from a more Western orientation, where a lot of your readers who are reading your study might come from, I'm really interested to hear that you are including a lot of African concepts about elders and Ubuntu and summonings, ontology, theories in your study. And I'm just wondering how that relates directly to the difficulties that people with disabilities have in African cultures, where disabilities are often viewed as a curse or some indication that the ancestors are unhappy. Maybe you could explain something about that tension that exists in the culture and how you would address that.
Oh, okay. My issue, I am saying, like, what is happening at this point, especially in the education institutions, we have embraced the Western perspectives. For example, and emphasis is being put on if you cannot abstain, you can use condoms consistently and correctly. If you have had hookups or casual sex or something like that, or you've had an emergency, you can have morning pills. You can take morning pills so that you don't get pregnant. And we are having a situation where even the Ministry of Health is also saying we can have what we call PrEP, where perhaps before engaging in risky sex behavior, you can perhaps take some tablets, perhaps 7 days before, so that when you engage in the sexual intimacy, you don't contract HIV. And in this study, I am saying that we need to embrace our Ubuntu, our values. In the African culture, we value chastity. We value a situation where we are saying the young people need to abstain from sex until they get married. I'm not so sure if I am answering your question. To add on, there is also issues to do with nowadays a situation where we are having the young people getting a lot of information. There's pornography on the social media, but a long time ago we used to have the elderly who would teach the young people about sexual issues from puberty stage, which we have forsaken now. And I am advocating, and also the findings indicate that it is critical that we go back to letting the elders have a voice so that the behavior of the young people can change. I'm not so sure if I am answering the question. Hello?
Yeah, yes, you are. Very, very interesting dimensions that you're going to be exploring in your final write-up. And
Yes.
I do wish you well with all of that. I wanted to ask a follow-up question, and that is about the medium that you use for putting your messages across in your in your conceptual framework and your messages to the visually impaired students. Do you convert everything to Braille, or do you use text to speech software? How do you make the messages, how do you make the content accessible to a visually impaired student?
I am advocating that we may have sexual reproductive health materials, pamphlets, and so on, that we should have these in Braille. If we cannot have them in Braille, let's have materials which are audio recorded that will assist the young people. This is what I am advocating for, Prof. Hello?
Yeah. So it sounds like you also will, once you're done with this thesis, is that you can put in some proposals for funds to produce this material and to create the videos that are required, because that would be a good practical contribution that your study can be furthered to assist these students.
Yes, I look forward to a situation where we can get funding so that we can have materials in Braille, like you are suggesting, perhaps having videos and so on. Now the videos they will not see, but the audios they can hear. The audios they can hear. If we have some audio recordings, these students with vision impairment they can hear. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you very much. So are there any other questions and comments from the floor? Please feel free to come forward. I don't see any other comments and no hands are up. So I'm going to assume that everybody is happy with the presentation. And thank you very much. You need to tell me how to pronounce your name.
Tichakunda.
Tichakunda.
Yes,
Thank you.
We shall conquer, we shall overcome.
Say again, what does it mean?
We shall conquer, we shall overcome, we shall have victory.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
Very
Yes.
positive, strong name.
Yes.
And I think it will stand you in good stead for finishing up your thesis and your write-up. And to all the candidates who have presented today, the first and second candidates, to the people starting their journey, good luck with the next couple of years. And to the people who are finishing their journey, may it go well with your examiners and with the final submission of your thesis. Can I remind everybody that Tichakunda, can you just turn off your microphone for a bit? Can I remind everybody that the session has been recorded, and I will upload those recordings to a link and send them on to the candidates and the supervisors. I don't see any other queries and questions, so thank you to all the people who were in the seminar today. Thank you to the candidates, and good luck to everybody going forward. That ends the seminar. Can I please ask the department staff to check the email that I have sent? Prof Sefotho wants another seminar in October. There are 7 candidates who need to do either first or second presentations. I have sent an email with a link. If you could please, I don't know how we're going to find a date. The end of the year is very busy, but Prof Dwarika, if you could maybe guide us on how to on what date might be suitable for doing this next seminar. There are 7 people, so it's going to be a full day, certainly a very long morning, and we will need quite a long, quite an open day in order to do that. So we will take that going forward.
Thank you.
Thanks, Prof.
We look at the calendar and communicate accordingly. Thank you, Jean.
Thanks very much. Okay, everybody. Thanks a lot. Go well.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Alex,
Bye-bye.
how are you? Hello, Dr. Jean.
Somebody needs me. I'm still here.
Hello, Jean. It's Tumi.
Tumi, how are you? Why do I
I'm
not
good, and
see
you?
you here as a
I'm
people in my
with Chidu.
list?
I'm with Chidu. That is why
You're with
I'm sitting.
Chidu. Ah,
Yeah.
cool.
So I was listening from Chidu's one.
How are you keeping in your new position, Madam Dean?
Okay, the Madam Dean. I'm still wrapping up my UNISA position, the Madam Dean position. That's 1 October.
Oh, you haven't, we can't call you that officially just yet.
No, not yet. They said, I'm Madam Dean designate.
Designate. Okay.
Yes.
Pretty cool.
Please let me know of the dates because I don't get the dates of communication anymore, and I'm still finishing up your students, guys. So my students lose out because I don't know when are the seminars and blah. If you can just send me my info, even if it's
Okay,
on.
so what is your current email address?
Maybe for now, to be safe, let's do it on my Gmail, which is tumidiale.
Let me just make a note. I think I might have it.
Yeah, tumidiale
Tumidiale
69
69
at gmail.com.
at gmail.com. Okay. Do you have a candidate for October?
Where it depends when in October, because I'll be starting in the new job of the deanery. So I don't know how, it depends whether it's early or it's late October when I'm a bit settled.
Okay. So, but is it a candidate who needs to
The
do,
next one would be at the beginning of next year.
the candidate is submitting beginning next year?
No, what I'm saying, no. I don't have any. Oh, the one candidate who was actually wanted to submit now in October is Ceci. We might have to squeeze her in that. But tell me, I can't remember who of the students said to me, they were told that there is no more, people are no more allowed to submit in January. Is that a final decision taken?
I'm not aware of that decision, but I have put in an extension request for a candidate to submit in January, and that was accepted this year. So I'm not sure.
I'm happy to hear that. They'll probably then, but if Ceci, they might have to, because the days, that's the thing is, if I don't know your dates for October, I can't commit to say those dates.
Yeah, so we have not set the dates yet, but looking at my calendar, it looks like it's going to have to be late October.
Yeah, keep me on the loop, then they might present there.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And then if your candidate is submitting in January, please put in a extension letter with faculty higher degrees, because they are getting very fussy about all that.
Sorry, Jean, I keep on losing you.
Put in an extension letter with faculty higher degrees committee.
No, they are not overtime in any way.
Oh, well, then that's fine.
So I don't need to request, because so they are fine.
Yeah. So then they can submit
Yes.
anytime next semester.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. They don't need to put an extension. I just need to know the doctoral seminar date so that
Okay. So
I
I'll
can.
put
When you
you
have
in the Gmail
there,
loop.
you've got your vivos. Yeah. Then you also when you've got your vivos, so that I can sit in and see what is expected.
Yeah. So those I think those are arranged individually.
Yes, the vivos are arranged individually. So if you've to attend the vivo.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'll also let Prof Max know.
Yes. Okay. Okay, Jane.
Cool, Timmy. Keep well.
Okay, bye.
Okay. Dr. Chidu, bye.
Bye, Prof. Bye. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.